Hey everyone, and welcome to Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport. Today's a special day for me because I'll be flying on one of my all-time favorite planes. That's a cool one, but the one I'm going on is a little bit bigger and a lot older. Well, not that old. Yup, there we go. Today I'm crossing the Atlantic aboard an Airbus A380. First introduced to the world in 2005, the A380 is the largest passenger airliner around, but with more efficient planes taking to the skies, the demand for gas-guzzling jumbos like this just isn't there anymore. And sadly, Airbus announced that the final A380 would roll off the factory floor in 2021. This afternoon's flight will be with Air France. Right now, Air France has 10 A380s, and has joined the chorus of other carriers who have turned their backs on this super jumbo. Air France took delivery of their first A380 back in 2009, and faced with the prospect of having to retrofit this enormous and inefficient plane, the Air France KLM CEO announced that they would be phasing out their A380 fleet by 2022. This was definitely a blow to many aviation enthusiasts around the world, like myself, who breathed a sigh of relief when the airline initially stated that they would be only retiring half of their A380s and refurbishing the rest. I was even afraid that this flight might not even happen after Air France, along with other airlines, found cracks in their A380's wings. Thankfully though, the cracks ended up not being that big of a problem, and my flight will still be taking off today. With a weak second-hand market, the future of the A380 is uncertain. But one thing is for sure, this plane is a crowd pleaser. This is one of the few planes around that is not only easily recognizable to the average traveler, but even gets non-av geeks excited. In the time I was sitting here, I must have seen over 20 people come up to the glass and snap a photo of this A380. Which means that this is also the first time that I didn't seem like a total weirdo taking pictures of a plane. It's definitely sad to see this gargantuan aircraft become an endangered species, but at least there's still a little time left to catch a flight on one of these beauties before they all become extinct. Air France's A380 can seat over 500 passengers, and after waiting behind what felt like most of those people, it was finally my turn to board the plane. For today's flight, I chose seat 12A for a very special reason. But before we get into that, let's take a look around the seat. On the lower deck, the economy seats are in a 3-4-3 configuration. Each seat has an adjustable headrest, a decent amount of recline, and these massive armrests. I also thought there was a comfortable amount of legroom. There's also a nice cup holder, tray table, and a footrest too. And for the reason I paid a little extra to choose this seat, that view. After a short delay, the cabin door was closed, the jet bridge was pushed back, and it was time to taxi out to the runway to begin this 8.5-hour flight to New York. And with a view like that, I just can't wait to get up into the air.
Dans votre siège, je vous recommande de vous déranger. Si votre appareil venait à glisser sous un siège, aussi vous travaillez.
Once we had reached cruising altitude, the crew came around and handed out an economy class menu and a really nice quality refreshing towel. Here's a look at what was placed on each seat before you boarded the plane. We have a nice quality complimentary headphones, an eye mask, this blanket, and also a cool looking pillow. meal service started with a drink of your choice and these crackers. I thought these tasted amazing, and I wish they sold them in the US. Let's take a closer look at the seat. Each seat has a two-pronged headphone jack and a USB power port. The IFE system is a little small, and it's not a touchscreen, so you have to use this remote. I'm also not a big fan of this interface, but I'm sure the systems are a lot nicer on Air France's newer planes and more modern. But if movies and TV shows aren't your thing, you could always check out the massive in-flight magazine located in the seat back pocket. But as I mentioned before, this plane is getting old, and unfortunately, you can see reminders of that all over the cabin. After a while, the main meal was served, and it was pretty good. One thing that I did find strange though, was that the whole tray was covered in water. It was almost like ice had melted all over it or something. You can kind of see it in these shots. Here's a look at one of the bathrooms. There's 14 of them on the first floor for economy passengers, and they were kept pretty clean throughout the flight. One thing that really stands out about this seat is just how much space you have. I mean, look how much room there is between my arm and the wall here. It made this flight very comfortable. The lights were turned off for the majority of this flight, and it was kept pretty dark in the cabin, so most people got some sleep. That means it's time for me to test out this amazing looking eye mask and pretend to get some sleep for the camera. I'm definitely going to feel nice and rested after this fake nap. The cabin didn't have individual air nozzles, but it was kept nice and cool throughout the flight. About an hour before landing, these little snack bags were handed out. I thought there was a nice selection of items inside, but the presentation is what really impressed me here. As we make our descent into JFK, let me try to sum up the experience of flying on the amazing, the incredible, the fantastic Airbus A380 with Air France. First of all, I was very impressed with the soft product. The crew on this flight were very nice, and overall I really thought they did a fantastic job. I also really liked the stylish and quality amenities that were provided, like the refreshing towel, the colorful blankets, pillows, and the nice eye shades. The food was also very nice as well. I felt like Air France really nailed this in a way that other carriers, like Virgin Atlantic, don't, because there was an emphasis on style as well as substance. Now on to the hard product. It's no secret that this plane is dated, but then again, it's a classic. There's a cool factor about flying on an A380 that other planes, maybe with the exception of the 747, just can't match. From what I've heard, Air France's 777s are also beautiful on the inside, and after this flight, I'd really like to fly on one to see what they're like. But in my book, there's just no beating the A380. There is one drawback though. A lot of airports just don't have the best infrastructure in place to handle such a large plane. Like in our case, where we had to sit on the tarmac for about 45 minutes for a gate to open up that could accommodate us. Oh well, we eventually made it to a gate, and we were able to leave the plane. I'm still happy that I got to fly on this A380 despite having to wait a while, and I wouldn't change it for anything. Well, that's a wrap for this review. Thanks for coming along with me on today's flight, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, and also subscribe if you haven't done so already. But until next time, take care.